Hi, my name is Joseph Sangl, and I really want to talk about this phrase that I hear all too common, and it is this phrase, I can't afford that. We may have said it about a lot of things. It might be a car, it might be to start a different type of job or a new career or to go to college. It might be to take that trip that you really want to take, but you say, I can't afford it. You might even say, I can't afford to go to Starbucks. And then, I used to say that too. I used to say, it's $4 or it's $5 because I can't get out of there without spending $4 or $5. But the fact is that I believe that phrase, I can't afford that, we can't afford that, is one of the most limiting statements you could ever make in your financial journey. Let me talk with you about it for a minute. You see, here's what I want you to know. I used to have an average bank balance of $4.13, and I went and said, I can't afford it to virtually everything in my life. And it was a self fulfilling prophecy. You see, I truly believed I could not afford it, and therefore I could not afford it. I made decisions that kept me broke, and those decisions kept me from being able to afford it. One day I had something I call an IHHE moment. I call it an I have had enough moment. And it's where I determined that I was never, ever again in my life going to say, I can't afford that. In fact, at my house, I banned the phrase from being used in our house. I said, no one in this household is allowed to say, we can't afford that or I can't afford that. Instead, I said, we need to say this statement: how can we afford this? See, when you say how, it becomes a question that causes you to start to investigate opportunities, other alternative ways that you could be able to afford the thing that you're looking at. It's okay to admit that something's expensive. Look, to change your career, to go to college, to fund a trip around the world, to be able to give more money to causes that you really believe in, to be able to buy a car, to be able to provide college for your kids, it's going to cost money and it is expensive. But I want you to know there are millions of people who went before you who have funded it. So if they could do it, why not you? So today I'm challenging you to say this: how can we afford that? It will cause you to consider opportunities that you've never considered before. It's going to open up a world of new beliefs. It's going to allow you to become creative. Let me tell you a way that this has manifested itself in my life. See, I wanted to own a business. I wanted to start a business, but it was fearful. I used to be broke and I was starting to get unbroke, and I had a job with a salary and benefits. And it was very difficult to say goodbye to salary, benefits, and guaranteed income to take a risk on a small business. But because my belief had changed from the unreal and untruth belief that I couldn't afford it to the how can I afford it, it caused me to consider other options. And as we positioned ourselves to start this business called I Was Broke Now I'm Not, we were able to take that step of faith and we were able to move to business ownership that resulted in financial freedom that I never thought possible. So let me tell you, you're listening to someone who actively practices the statement, how can we afford this? Instead of saying we can't afford this. I challenge you today. Go home, talk to your family. If you're single, go home and speak to the walls and say, how can I afford this? And ban the phrase, we can't afford it, from this day forward. I promise you, it will transform your way of managing your money, and it will position you to prosper so you can live a fully funded life.